Hey, how you doing?
Hi, you can finish saying what you're saying. I'm gonna just keep admitting people, so go ahead.
Oh, okay. What's going on, Lara?
I'll ding the bell when I want to reel it
Eh? You got 30 seconds.
in. You can blow your whistle for me, Coach Mike.
Get my whistle. Yeah, it should be like around my neck. I hear you. Yeah, sure. So
I'm excited to see you. Oh,
I know, right?
we
I've
have
seen
like
you in a while.
few people say they want to come to this, so what I'm assuming will happen. People will start to kind of file in over the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, what about Evan and Mike?
Evan can't be here, but Mike may be here. Hi, Lori.
Oh,
Good to finally see
okay.
you. Hi, here's Sophie's here. Hi, Joyce. Oh, Ron is here. Hi, Ron.
All right.
This is amazing. There's going to be people here from like the yoga world and from the business world and from the kids yoga world and from school programming world. So, hi, Sarah.
Nice.
Very good. Oh, we've got Mora here. So excited. We're going to play a jazz hands game in a little while to get to know what everyone does while people file in. So get your jazz fingers ready.
All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Oh, here's Catherine's here. Okay. Ron, your background looks so amazing.
Yeah, you're not the first one to say that. This isn't actually a background. This is my room.
Well, isn't that all the stuff you get at the Buddhist store in New York City?
Yeah, pretty much everything behind me and around me is New York. Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, cool. I love the people with the vacation backgrounds. You know, the picture of the sand and the water. You know, in some on some island. You ever see that from
I have a
people on
student
Zoom?
that does outer space when we're trying to learn, so it's always very funny to have that. Hi, Mora. Hi. Okay, I'm gonna just check. I'm gonna give people like one more minute to come in, and then I'll do a real intro. So in the meantime, um, everybody here knows Zoom more or less. So I'm just gonna orient you in case you don't. The bottom, you can chat with the group. Um, we're all going to share our wisdom as a collective, but I'll probably just talk for a few moments. But this is really going to be everybody adding to the collective wisdom, because all of us have to be in this new world, learning online. So I'm not going to speak as, this is not the thing I'm the expert in, but I do have a lot of experience, and we're all getting more. Hi, Lanny. Andrea's here. This is great. Oh, I feel so happy to see you all, this Brady Bunch view. All right, so I'm just gonna get going and start with my spiel. Most of you know me, or like know me a little bit. I'm Lara Hocheiser. My business is kids yoga, and I mostly do teacher trainings, school programming, and of course, schools are closed. So it's been interesting having the few programs that are still online, figuring that out. And obviously, those of you who do programming in schools, or anybody who does business anywhere, we're taking a hit. So figuring out how to salvage what we can online. And then all of the crazy things happening when we do teach online. So right now I am in the process of doing my 95-hour kids yoga teacher training, which was launching this year. Now I have to do that as a online course for the first time, which is not how I envisioned it. So a lot of us are pivoting. We're having to sort of pick up the pieces. And so I just want to say I'm with you. I feel your pain, and I'm also feel what the opportunity we're being met with to pivot and change and grow. So I'm going to tell you 3 short stories, then we'll play a game, and then the way we'll wrap up is everybody is going to take a moment to think about their greatest challenge or pitfall as they're teaching online, and then some tip or something that you've learned or some nugget of wisdom, because I don't want to act like I am the authority on this at all. We're all learning together. So here's my stories. Story one, I have been working at a school since I got to New York 5 years ago. I know the kids in the community very well, and I was thrilled to find out they wanted to keep programming going. And on the first day of class, I had live kids, Zooming back and forth with me. I had been doing classes that were me live streaming to the unknown, and that was hard. So having them there, they were more centered and connected than ever. It was really great. And I got so many messages from parents saying, oh, we've never gotten to be part of it. And it was so amazing to see the kids drop in. A terrible thing that happened, a public school I had a special event scheduled with asked me to go ahead and do an online thing. I couldn't use my own Zoom. I had no control over the admin of the Google Hangout they used. And we did 2 20-minute classes. The first was okay. They were able to put me big in the middle and all the kids around, so I could see the participation. The second group, the teacher did not know how to control the technology. Nobody was muted. It was completely chaotic. I felt my blood pressure shoot through the roof. Raise your hand or do jazz fingers if you've had any crazy. Yeah. So, and then something about connection. My teacher training group that was all supposed to be people I was meeting in real life in Connecticut and in New Hampshire, has ended up being such a source of connection. And after every class, I get messages like, I cannot believe how connected I feel or how much I'm getting from this. So even though I'm like, oh no, this cannot possibly be a replacement for being together, there's something positive. So those are my stories. My biggest pitfall would be there's too many ways to connect online, and just having to sometimes work with other people's ways doesn't always work with the technology I have. I actually had to buy a new computer this week, which you're still on the old one, because I've had run into so many issues. A greatest success, I would say, is pivoting so I can reach the people that need me right now, whether they're my adult students or the schools that I've stayed on, and just figuring it out. And that appreciation I'm feeling through those relationships is making me feel like I can do this, because obviously doing work online that you're used to doing in person it's much more energy consuming. Last thing I'll say, some of my colleagues are doing trainings that are 12 hours in a go. I did all mine in smaller chunks, like 3 to 3.5 hours, out of the perception that none of us would be able to survive online for that big of a chunk. So as soon as I saw one of my colleagues doing that, I wanted to reach out and say, oh my God, but I did not want to step into, I don't know her situation, but from my own perspective, just thinking as a student, that would slowly kill me. So that's my piece. Now we're going to play the game. So here we go. So we're going to do jazz fingers if this is true for you. Okay, show jazz fingers if you are currently doing any work from home, some work from home. Okay. Jazz fingers if you are teaching in some way from home. Jazz fingers if you're teaching on Zoom, at least some of the time. Jazz fingers if you have to use other meeting platforms. So lots of Zoom, okay. Okay. Jazz fingers if you are working with kids in a live interactive way. Jazz fingers if you're working with adults in a live and interactive way. Okay. Jazz fingers if you're pre-recording content for children. And jazz it up if you're pre-recording for adults. Okay. Awesome. So it's like we're all coming from different worlds. So I just wanted to just show the unity that none of us are all doing the same thing. And notice how we're all wearing a lot of hats. Just want to say we're amazing for figuring any of it out. One little trick of the trade that I got is like a $40 little lighting thing. Look how much nicer my living room looks. It looks like I live in a civilized place. Before I had completely garbage shots because I was up in like a guest bedroom at my mother-in-law's house. And so we just use her living room. As you can see, it's open. People could come down the stairs. So it's like we have the white noise machine and people just have to stay out until it's like, so we're taking turns because I'm living here for one more day. So, okay. So I would love it if we just took a moment now, everyone take it, like, just think about your pitfall, like what your challenge is, and then what your, like, a takeaway you have. And then after a minute or two, I will just like call, I'll say your name and so I'll slightly MC it so everyone can share like what their challenge is. And then one of the things they've learned or a tip you can share with us. So take a moment, think about it. Oops, I didn't actually take a picture, don't worry. I took a picture of like the corner of my screen, but no one was in it. Okay, so Mike is just getting here. Hi, Mike. We are discussing, we're going to all take turns and discuss something that we, a challenge or a pitfall from teaching online, and then a nugget of wisdom. And I'm just going to go in the order I see people. So Doreen, you can go ahead and share if you'd like.
Challenge or pitfall from teaching online. When this whole mess started 6 weeks ago, I was in the midst of a residential move in North Carolina. My studio, where I usually film out of, is in New York. And so I had to unpack this house for the first week and not even think about teaching online. After I unpack, I had to make a makeshift studio. You can kind of see it behind me. So that for me was extremely stressful because I like things to look a certain way, and I'm so used to having everything set up in my New York studio. To switch it over to my North Carolina home was a bit of anxiety for me, I'd say. But it's working out fine in regards to that. That was my biggest challenge when this all started, honestly. And a takeaway? Well, a takeaway is, I guess, that it doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to look perfect. But I do recommend, I've seen many videos of many yoga people putting stuff out there. I think it's very distracting when it is done in a basement or done with a lot of crap all around. I think it needs to be very neat, clean, looking to the best of your ability, quiet. So that's my little tidbits.
Thank you, Doreen. And I have to say, I rushed into creating videos like my first week, and there was so much in the background, and I can't even rewatch them. So what you're saying could not be more true. Okay, Coach Mike, I'll unmute you. Oh, wait, you're still muted. Let's see. Maybe you have, there you go. Coach Mike.
Voila.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Lara. My name is Mike Deutsch. I'm with Hands on Hoops. What we do is we work with toddlers, well, between age 2 and 6, and help them with their basketball and transferable skills. So kids are learning to share the basketball, be great teammates, build a positive attitude, listen and apply instructions, as well as core basketball skills on adjustable baskets. So I also work with older kids, but I have done some lessons with kids through Zoom, but I'm really getting into it now. I literally spent the last month and a half just trying to help people, because in the city it's just a mess here. So I was focused on that, getting back into it. And so tomorrow I have a class at 3:30. As far as any challenges, my challenge is, I knew that we were going online this year. It's an in-person program, but I knew it was inevitable. So my goal was to be the face of toddler basketball nationally and also globally at some point. I just, whenever that happens. But big goals, big goals. So yeah. So as far as any challenges, just figuring out the price point that parents will pay right now. Figuring out how to get to a lot of moms through one mom, to create these group classes so I don't have to do all the work. Because that worked for in-person classes. I was able to get one mom who got 3 classes if she brought in everybody else. So I'm trying to figure that out. As far as a tidbit or a nugget I could give to you all, I got nothing except energy, enthusiasm, and just wanting to help kids' lives, and parents who need to take a break, because it's brutal right now for parents. It's brutal to have to, especially with 2 or 3 kids, to have to do your work if they work, help the kids, clean it's brutal. So I feel that, and I'd like to be the one to help them as well, to give them a break. So yeah, that's it.
Mike. And I just want to say, Coach Mike is doing so much for people experiencing homelessness. And now, ever since that was his big thing for the past year, and now he's also doing a lot to distribute free masks, and he goes above and beyond to be a part of the community. And that's why he's going to be a tremendous success no matter what happens, because people see how much he puts out. And I see you. I just want to acknowledge that. I think only
thank you.
Mike P knows you, so I see you. See what you're up to. Thank you. Holly, would you like to share? Let's see, you're still muted.
Hi, everybody. I'm one of Lara's students right now, so I'm not actually teaching yoga yet, but I just thought that this would be helpful to see everybody and join in. So I'm just here to learn a little. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh, my squares just rearranged. So now, Joyce, now you're the top.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, my biggest pitfall. I think it was just the technical learning at the beginning. I did a couple of classes outside. I live in Florida, so I did a couple of classes outside, and then I'm using my phone, and then I go to replay it, and it ends at 25 minutes, and then it jumps to a new video frame, and it was just so frustrating. And I finally figured it out, using my computer and moving it to Vimeo, which is really great, because you could just drag it into Vimeo and it loads. And the company that I work for, Bella Prana, they really took their time coming up with a platform for students where they didn't, when everything first started, a lot of people were putting Zoom classes up and live stream classes or whatever, and they really took their time and they found NamaStream, which is a virtual yoga platform. So all of our videos get loaded on there, and it's a pay for kind of thing. And we have, and you know, from the hearts of all of our teachers, and we have 40 teachers, we have over 100 classes a week at the studio in South Tampa. But all of our teachers have really done so many classes from love and from their homes, and we probably have 100 classes on there now. And then we live stream 20 classes. So I guess for me, my takeaway is like, you know, I'm feeling more comfortable with technology, but it's still difficult to find the right position. You know, I'm about to teach a baby and me, and where am I going to have the camera? I want to, you know, because I do yoga baby development. So it's just those little kinds of things that, you know, come up, or, you know, I'm getting really good and I'm doing a class and then my dog starts barking. But I mean, it's just what it is. It's just what it is. And I'm sure, you know, our student base appreciates that. So, yeah, I guess it's a learning, for all of us, and then what works. I do miss the human connection. And I have been, I moved from New Jersey to Florida about almost a year ago, and I miss my New Jersey students. And I've been thinking about, oh, should I just write them and say, hey, you want to do a Zoom class?
You should. People
And
want.
no, that's the silver lining from it, is that, you know, we can connect from all over. So.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Joyce. And by the way, I'd love to connect with you later because I also do baby and yoga. So it'd be great to talk about.
Awesome. Yes.
Thank you. All right. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. We're going to try to keep it to like 2 minutes so everyone could get a chance. I'm going to go to the second row. So Surad, if you'd like to share any of your pitfalls and wisdom with us.
Well, thank you for asking and putting this together. I have been thinking about doing online teaching for a very, very long time before this catastrophe that's going on right now. And now it seems like my time is coming. However, you know, there are so many personal challenges, balancing schedule, you know, new responsibilities as a parent, like I'm homeschooling all over again. And I just want to make sure that, you know, what I set forward is something that I can maintain and something that, you know, I'm not trying to recreate the environment. So my specialty, I'm a yoga teacher, but my specialty is swimming actually. So it's really hard to recreate that for my students. I don't have a backyard pool. If I did, if I were in Florida, I'd be all set. But many of my clients don't have pools, although things may change in the summer, it may be different. So honestly, I'm at a place where I'm reinventing everything. And I'm taking a moment to assess the needs of my family, myself, my clients, my community. So I've been keeping in touch with everybody, but I haven't said, okay, this is what I'm doing. I'm still figuring it out. And, you know, I think one takeaway is just that, you know, although I'm a planner and I love to forecast, I'm not the only one who doesn't know the future. We don't know. We're just guessing, you know? And I want to be able to look back and say, hey, you know, I lived in the moment then. I did what was appropriate then. I'm doing what's appropriate now. And so we're just not alone in this. And that's just my comfort and my takeaway from it, that, you know, we're all figuring this out together.
Thank you, Surad. Ron Levine, the wonderful.
Oh, well, I don't know about that. I agree with the first half. I am Ron Levine. Hi, everyone. I teach mindfulness and insight meditation. My company is called Mindfulness in Blue Jeans. As you can tell, I try to incorporate a little bit of humor and real world into it. Hi, Joyce. You stole a little bit of my thunder. I know. I'm going to let it go this time. What I was going to bring was kind of two sides of the same coin in terms of upside and downside. I've been getting some flashbacks to, you know, back in my younger days when I played in bands. I remember in the early 90s, it was very difficult to promote in our area. And then when I picked up music again about 10 years later and started playing again, I was like, oh, now I can use the internet to promote. Oh, everybody's using the internet to promote. And it's just like the problem just became much bigger. And that's kind of the same thing is everything is, you know, everybody's kind of rushed to move online, and suddenly, you know, I'm accustomed to just kind of focusing in my geographical area because I really prefer doing things in person. And now suddenly it's just like everybody's online, and I necessarily had to move online if I wanted to continue to do my thing. So suddenly it's like, yes, it's a global market that everybody's piled into. But the upside or the silver lining is the ability to connect with folks who aren't in my geographic area. And I have some clients and folks who have attended my group sessions over time who have moved away. And now all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, here you are again. And isn't this amazing? So that's been a really nice thing. The only other thing that I want to mention is, Lara, I was specifically going to say how good you looked and was going to ask what you did. I mean, you look great anyway. But as far as but I was going to ask about that lamp, because it was the first thing I noticed when you came up. I was like, she looks better over this connection than I do locally on my machine. So like, what lamp is that, please?
I will, at the end of this, what I'm going to ask people to do is send me any of the takeaways you remember. Usually I have a scribe, but I want everyone to be present. So I'm recording it. I can send you the video later, but I'm thinking I will, there's also been some great questions from Coach Mike that I want to ask at the end once everyone has spoken, but everybody will pile our resources. What I'll also say is we could share videos about how to make better videos. I got this thing because I copied somebody else. I'm just copying people on the internet who make money making videos. So the YouTube university style, like I just, yeah. So, but my trick, wash your face that day or week and good lighting. And Ron, I wanted to make one piggyback on what you said. It's amazing that we can globalize or work with people that have moved away, and I relate to that, but you can still focus on your hyper local people because they know you, trust you, and want to continue to study with you. So I think it was Joyce that said she's moved away. Your students want to hear from you. And I emailed everyone who studied with me ever and just said hi to them. And I let them know what I was up to. But the biggest thing I did was talk to them. And I have gotten a lot of conversation back. I can tell people want to like hear from their teachers and the people that they look to for guidance. So yes, let's reach out to those people. Thank you. Ofrit, is that how you pronounce it? I finally get to talk to you in person. Oops, I unmuted you. Hi.
Yeah, I unmuted. Yes, it's Ofrit. And yeah, so I own a kids yoga business in Philly, and we've been in a lot of preschools, schools, and library, and it all shut down one day. So I think my biggest challenges were, again, it was like a very sudden stop. And because it's spring, so we did end up continuing some of our program that started before, but a lot of the spring sessions that were supposed to start just stopped. Zoom was a challenge. The new password adaptation that they added caused me like so much stress of students not being able to log into classes and being frustrated, and directors being frustrated with, I think now we've figured it out. It was kind of like a plug-in thing between the calendar and Zoom. I started recording some classes, just like you. I learned about the lighting, bringing more lights and putting a microphone so that you can play music. Otherwise, you can't be heard with music together. And I think it was like the challenge was, again, I miss teaching the kids. I'm so like, this is the connection. I think this is where we're all coming from. And it's being a teacher versus being an actress. kind of when you record, which is so different and so not me in many ways. Yeah, but we do Zoom classes. I love, but like the Zoom classes with the interaction where the kids, you can, like hear them, even though I don't mute them, even if they're younger. It's so much better when they're unmuted and you can hear them talk, and it feels better and more alive.
Any tips
Yeah.
you want to offer?
Excuse me?
Any tips or things you've learned that you want to offer?
So again, I think it's the setup, lights, and microphone for music. So you can use music, and a lot of the music like Kira Willie and Laurie Berkner, like everybody's happy to share their music. So, but you do need a microphone in order to bring music and talk to the kids or the people at the same time.
You talk over wireless headphones, and then your music is playing from your device? Okay.
No, there's a microphone for the music.
Okay.
And then I can just talk, and you kind of like need to adjust how loud you're talking and where the music is, but that really made a big difference.
Which microphone do you use?
Which microphone? That's my husband's part. I'll write it down and I'll in the.
Oh yeah, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If everyone
the thing wasn't me.
I can send an email to everyone that signed up, and just everybody can reply all with the things that they have. Or if you don't want those emails, I can have you guys send me them and wait and send the email later. But I think everybody has some resources we can compile. Hold on, I have a chat coming in. You can also share audio only via Zoom and share music with your class. That's from Coach Mike. Thank you, Coach Mike. Okay, so I'm going to move on to Teresa. Did you have something to say, Andrea?
That was from Andrea.
Okay, great. Oh, that was
that message. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I gave the wrong friend credit. Okay, Teresa, you give us your challenge and your tip. You have it.
Okay, hi everybody. I'm a yoga teacher, kids and adults, and I haven't actually taught a online class yet. I've got everything ready, got Zoom set up, got my class done, everything ready. My challenge is just getting started. And I think that's just some of the fears that listening to you guys has really helped. One's the technology, how's that going to work? And, how are they going to be able to get on and that sort of thing. And then also, I have never videoed myself. And so I think for me, just getting used to seeing myself, videoing myself, so I've actually done many, probably half a dozen or more actually Zoom meetings of my class with just me. So, which really helped a lot as far as getting things started. And so that's my challenge. My takeaway is just do it. So just get out there and do it. So you guys are a great help. Thanks.
Thank you, Teresa. Sophie.
Oh, thank you. Hi. Similar to Holly and Teresa, we're both in Lara's Flow and Grow kids training. I just haven't started or done it yet, and I feel very in between things because I'm sort of like a freelance special ed one-on-one teacher. And I'm about to go to grad school to be an occupational therapist, and I'm still training as a yoga teacher. So I'm, in this place in my life where I have all this knowledge and excitement, and I had these students that I was working with, and I was so passionate about them, and there was so much heart and soul and growth happening, and now it's not happening, and I, have no contact with them, and that's strange, and the technology aspect is intimidating, and my apartment is 400 square feet. So it's all just, that's the challenge, is the space, and just knowing that once you dip your toe, you don't just dip your toe, you go in. And so you don't want to dip your toe until you're feel like you're ready, but when is it that I'm going to feel like I'm ready? So I'm so grateful for this community and hearing from people who are trying this out, and I'm just here to learn. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Maura.
Hi, everybody. My name is Maura Bradley, and I am a kids yoga and mindfulness instructor. I own a kids yoga studio. I also teach in schools and after school programs, summer camps, teacher trainings, all of it. So
95-hour teacher training.
95-hour kids yoga teacher training. Challenges, I find, like most of you guys are saying, right? It was just like jumping on right into it. Everything kind of happened quickly. Right out of the gate, I started offering free classes, and those were crazy. And it was, the challenge then was the technical aspects of having people register through MindBody, and I had to like manually, make email lists and get them the link to sign in, and dealing with, I'm familiar with Zoom, I've worked with Zoom, but educating, I guess, parents and people on how to get onto it. So that first 2 weeks, very time consuming, took a lot of energy. So I switched from that, going back to my regular weekly studio class schedule. I'm also in the process of closing my studio. And I also have 3 children home that, need a lot of time and attention. So there's been a lot, I guess, for me, my challenge has been time. I now have teachers that are teaching my weekly classes. I just do the background stuff. I set up the Zoom stuff. I get the people registered. I do the, all my social media posts. And then I have the teachers actually teaching, which has worked out. I mean, knock on wood so far, we just completed, this will be our going into our 4th week of online classes. It's been smooth sailing, which is great. However, they're not making any money. So that might be the challenge on the flip side of it. But because I'm closing the studio, I wanted to be sure I'm still offering classes weekly to all of my students who, were prepared for me to be there till the end of May. So I'm trying to fulfill that. Well, also, it's like a public service thing too. The parents really enjoy it, and the kids, I'm actually beyond surprised, I think, and impressed by how engaged the kids are online. Like, I've had a few parents say, like, oh no, I can't get them to do the online. It just feels like school. The kids that come to our online classes are like, they're in it, and they're like doing the whole thing right through the end in the Shavasana. So, and then challenges like learning the new format. Teresa or somebody mentioned when you have the kids muted, it is sort of like you're teaching, like you're on a stage, like, there's no feedback. There's none of that. Like when you're teaching a live class, you're, with the kids and joking and having fun. And so when teaching in this format, it's a little bit different. When I have smaller classes, I would have them unmuted just because then you could, really interact. For the most part, a lot of kids are home. There's other siblings. There's background noise. You got to mute them, and takeaways, I would say just same thing, just do it. Like I'm supposed to be doing some recorded mindfulness lessons, which I haven't started. Same thing. So it's also my challenge, like just getting it together and doing it. I mean, I have all the information. I know what I want to say. It's been weeks now that I'm like, what am I waiting for? But I have all this other stuff happening. So I'm just kind of, like everybody else, plugging along, making the best of it, and trying to offer, a real service for parents and kids and teachers. And so it's kind of, and my own kids. So that's kind of where I am.
Thank you so much, Maura. I want to just acknowledge how much administrative work there is managing all the stuff, and that it's okay that you haven't made those videos. And one thing I do is make videos. I set up the room and I record for the day. Like I'm dressed in my Flow and Grow shirt because I came directly from recording and I already had my room staged. So if you can maybe like even just make half a day or an hour that you do it and all your kids are done, so you don't have to do it all, but you can also like find a structure and take some time off. You take time off too.
Well, I realized I'm not going to do it till I get that light. So now I'm waiting on you to send the information.
Yeah. It was like $40 from Best Buy. So
okay, yeah.
So much. Lanny.
Oh, you did. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Lanny Rosen Gallagher, and I have a kids yoga business, Full of Joy Yoga. And then I also I have 2 businesses, Mindful Yoga Breaks, which is where I teach mindfulness and yoga in schools. So the crazy part of all this was about like a month before all this happened, I decided that I was going to take my mindful yoga breaks workshop that I usually do live, and I was going to create this online webinar for it. And so pre all of this happening, I had to clean my room, get it all set up for video and filming. And so I bought that, I have that light, I have like the mic, and I got everything all set to do that for this webinar. And then all of a sudden, then we're thrown into this, like, we have to do online. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm ready. Like, I have everything all set up because I had already started planning that. The foreshadowing, it was kind of crazy. So I jumped into online Zoom classes twice a day for the first 2 weeks using the platform I had started with for the webinar, which was called Crowdcast. Oh, hi, Persephone. And I ended up with like people from all over the world, like registering, and I had a donation only. I made a ton of money on donations. I ended up donating a lot of money to like the Connecticut Food Bank. I'm here in New Haven, Connecticut. And then I decided, okay, I can't do 2 classes a day every day. I did it for 2 weeks. It was like insane. I made them all into YouTube videos that now I have on my website that people can just view and use anytime they want. But it was not manageable because once online learning started for my kid, like that was impossible. So now I'm down to just 3 a week on Zoom. It's fine. It's not my favorite. But I'm trying to figure out a way to just do something that feels more authentic to me. I have like kids yoga trainings that I do. I had to cancel 3 of them. I'm like, I don't want to do them online. I just don't. I changed my mind. I'm like, or I just like decided like, I'm not doing those online. What am I going to do? So I just actually decided to do my mindful yoga breaks curriculum, but as mini videos to share with teachers and schools to put like in their online classrooms. So that I set up like a day where I'll film all the videos at once, like 5 to 10 to 25-minute videos. And I have a whole bunch of them now. They're in like the Google Classroom of my son's class and classes that have already paid me for me coming in the rest of this school year. So now they're getting these videos to put in their Google Classrooms. And now I'm like sitting here trying to figure out how to promote that to all other schools out there to kind of want to purchase or use or put in their Google Classroom. So my advice is just be authentic to what feels right for you, where I had to like make that hard decision. Like, I'm not going to do my teacher training online. It doesn't feel right to me, but I can create these videos. And I love the webinar. I love the working with people online, but it just didn't feel right for my business and where I want to go right now. And I'm hopeful maybe one day I'll be able to do my live kids yoga training again. There's so many people out there doing these like really amazing online kids yoga trainings. I don't really feel like competing either with it. It's just seems too much. So that's my advice. Just be authentic and do what feels right to you, because this is a marathon, not a sprint, and we have plenty of time to be doing this for a long time to come. So
thank you, Lanny.
Unfortunately, but yeah, it's our reality.
Yeah, don't you wish we knew how long? Because like it's so hard for us to plan, and people are like, when are you going to do the next 95? I didn't even get to market my 95. I just had to put it online immediately, and I texted people and they registered. Like I did not, like, so we're all like, how do we project? How do we prepare and know what
we don't know what it's going to look like in the next school year? Are they going to have us back into the school like that? I don't know.
Our school's going to have money to pay, and I mean, we don't even know anything. Yeah, we have a zero.
So it's hard to plan that. So like what we have to worry about is what's happening right now. Basically, being mindful, just doing what you can do right now, and that's that.
But you can't worry in the present moment. Andrea.
Am I unmuted? All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Andrea Creel. I run Shining Kids Yoga in Maryland. And before I say anything else, Lani, I just want to tell you our cats have the same name. Yes, when you said Persephone, I'm like,
P-U-R-R?
No, mine is the traditional spelling.
Ron is also very much a cat person.
But that is so, but it's not a very usual cat name. So I just want to mention that. I you know, now I'm teaching a lot of online classes, mostly kids. I'm doing now once a week for adults. For my students, my adult students who I had taught at studio before all of this happened. But just two things, most of my things are just very micro within Zoom is teaching, especially the little kids where there's so much demoing and doing the activities and songs along with them. And just in order to be able to do that, I have to move far enough away from the computer in order for them to be able to see me, and then I really can't see them because I'm so far away. So that's just a logistical thing, because I like to be able to say, oh, good, you know, good job, Doreen, great job, Holly, which I say anyway, but I can't really see what they're doing.
Could you set up a second device? Like, that's what I started doing, is setting up for my last training, I actually set up a second device where I could see myself and see them, and that helped me. I did gallery view on one and then presenter view on the other.
Maybe I'll try that. Like, I use my computer now, but I guess I just worry it might still be too small on my phone. But, you know, I go back and forth so I can see them during the class. It's just, you know, for doing a particular thing. And then one thing that, just a takeaway that I really enjoy about teaching on Zoom, especially with the older kids, is giving a chance to spotlight them. So highlighting one child and they get to share something and do a yoga pose and everyone else is muted. So that's really nice. Whereas if it was a live class, right, everyone would be on their own mats doing their thing, or, you know, or talking or whatever they're doing. But this way, one child really has that chance to shine and have the spotlight. So those are my two things.
I'm definitely going to steal the spotlight idea. It's great. Thank you, Andrea. Catherine, we'd love to hear from you.
Hello, I'm Catherine. I live in Maynard, Massachusetts, and this whole thing has come on like a natural adaptation for me. And so, kind of like Lonnie was saying, like, I was already ready in a lot of ways, and I won't get into specifics for the sake of time, but I have a 5-month-old baby. I left my preschool teaching job that was full-time, and the studio that I was teaching yoga at moved all online, and the online schedule didn't really match with my schedule. And so here I am, you know, thrown into my own project that I had in mind for a while. I've taught kids yoga for a long time, and I recently took on a position of teaching sensory yoga to children with special needs. And the biggest challenge for that has been figuring out a way to make it virtual and meaningful. And so kind of converting it into a coaching session for parents, essentially, was the main idea behind it at this point, which has been really nice, but definitely challenging. And I have a background in early education and care. I taught for a long, long time. And so I have the resources, I have like the creative mindset, but any insight into that would be very helpful, because it's a new deal for me. A few little things that I want to share. People touched on the password. I don't know if anybody's using FitGrid. I don't know the pricing scale for it, but FitGrid offers you that direct email link once people get signed up, so there's no waiting. I don't know if that's still a thing or not. For music, you can send people a Spotify playlist link, and they can play their music on their end simultaneously while being muted, rather than trying to coordinate music on your end. I find it's very distracting. The sound doesn't always transfer as well over devices. And I don't know, I think the other thing too is, you know, we're all just kind of, because of the competition and the weird sporadic pricing models. I mean, yoga's already been a point of contention when it comes to pricing and what people expect to pay and what teachers feel like they need to be paid. Now we're forced into this whole extra competition, worldwide, nationwide, whatever. But it's beautiful because we have the chance to kind of find a niche. And so if you can really hone in on what you are doing and do that well 100%, then you'll be fine. And I think it's fine to text people that you used to know, and to, you know, post about it here, there, email, whatever, and just get people in and get the word spreading about who you are and what your voice is. It's your time to be you in a sea of other people, and that's been a really nice thing for me. There was something else I was going to say, but I think, and then just doing it. You're right. I mean, I think now, above all anything else, we are more accepting of the imperfection. And so you can have a vision of what you think should be. You're going to shoot for perfection. And then if it's not, that's okay. Let it go. That's been my lesson in letting go recently, is just, you know what, try your best. And imperfection has its own beauty too.
Thank you so much, Catherine. You've added a lot of value.
Thank you.
Susan.
Hi, I'm Sue. I'm in Westchester, New Rochelle, New York. If anyone knows the first and foremost place in New York where this all started, it's a block away from my house. So challenges. I think scheduling has been a big challenge, when to have classes. With kids' schedules changing, that's been hard. We're still kind of working on how to figure out when to have certain age groups do classes. The other pitfall was, just putting, like everyone said, putting all my ideas to work. I have an idea about, I want to do calming jars. I want everyone, I want to have like all of our students do calming jars, but a lot of the parents don't have the crafts and all that kind of stuff. So, just little things like that. We do mute and unmute. What we found is that we mute the kids during class and then we'll unmute a couple times in the middle so that they can talk to each other. We have found that the connection, absolutely nothing is more important than the connection with us and each other. So whatever we do takes backseat to seeing each other and feeling connected. And that, I think, is my nugget of wisdom, is that people are just happy to see each other, happy to connect. You don't have to be great. You just have to be there. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Everybody had a chance to speak, and
except for Mike.
Oh, you didn't get to speak at the beginning?
Mike Papa.
Oh, but he's not here anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The nerve.
Had to go.
Okay.
Right? He had to go, and Sarat had to go early. So I know it's been for like an hour, so I don't want to keep anybody too long. So if you need to sign off, that's fine. I wanted to wrap up just with questions that Mike had sent me earlier and just put them out to the group. Is there a better platform than Zoom? And how do I make money from pre-recorded videos? Those were great questions. I just wanted to offer that to the group. Is there a better platform you found than Zoom? If anyone has any thoughts on that first.
I don't know if you can try Windows Teams. I know we use it interchangeably for video chat for social stuff. I don't know how it works out in terms of teaching, but I know you can still do like the breakout room kind of thing. So there's that. And I had a thought for the second question, but what was the second question?
How do you make money from pre-recorded videos?
Right. I had looked into, how do you get a membership on your website so you can have locked content, password protected? But what I'm going to end up starting to do is a Patreon account. So for those who don't know, Patreon, Patreon, people can sign up and pay you monthly, and you submit your videos to them however monthly, and it's just to them. They've already paid. It's only accessible to the people that pay. And you can also set up like some yoga studios do like a karma jar or a tip jar, and people can just support you and give you a few dollars per month if they're not paying for the full content. And so I find that takes the platform business of it off of me, because it's already established and I can plug in my stuff and people can pay me directly, and it's just less administrative stuff to worry about on my end.
Setting up a tip jar? What do you do with that? What's the deal?
Digital tip jar.
Gotcha.
Go on patreon.com.
Patreon again. Okay.
Yeah. Lanny. Oh, you're muted. Unmute. Okay.
I was working on this today because I'm trying to figure out how, am I still muted? No. How to set up like for schools or teachers to maybe like purchase my videos I created. Right now they're in a Google folder, and so I shared them with just those teachers who are already using them. But I ended up just watching a video on how to turn, like on my WordPress website, how to make it like a password protected. And I just spent like 3 hours today, like actually setting it all up, testing it out, and I have it now all set up as like on my website. And it took a lot of work because I want to send out my newsletter today. It's just been one of those things. I don't know. We'll see, but I'm going to look into Patreon, but that's something I definitely want to do. But I made it so that like you purchase my package, and it's basically like a certain amount of videos plus my mindful yoga breaks card decks and all the things to go with it that they can, like, the teachers can then do whatever they want with. It's still like I'm still hard, you know, do schools have the money? Do teachers have the money? Do I want to charge a teacher like $199? I doubt it. No, I don't think they want to pay. So it's like a hard thing. I'm not sure how to make it happen.
Schools that are public schools that would have had to pay for services this year that are not being held.
Right. That's
so those services actually have surplus funding. So some of the schools that I do big professional developments with have said, can you come on and teach our students? The normal after school doesn't translate to whatever. So there are places that do have money. And in the event that somebody does not, I always put on my website, like, if you don't have money, please, like, I don't say it like that, but, you know, just like, even for my teacher trainings, I have said, like, don't let the financial aspect stand in your way. Like, we can work something out. So I've even had like people just support me, my business, by like putting hours in to help me with something in lieu of payment for things, or so like, we can get creative and helping people. The other thing I wanted to say about making money on videos, it's more of a long shot, but it's something that some of my colleagues have done. Anybody that's familiar with Barry Corral and Yoga Palooza, she's a musician. So she put content on YouTube for months before she had something take off and go viral. And now she has millions of views and hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And Cosmic Kids, same thing. She's making money hand over foot, but she spent a long time building up her library with consistent, regular posting. So if you have someone who has time to create content, it just starts with one video, and it's about making a regular schedule for posting. And you know, I think back to what Doreen said, making it look clean and simple. Nobody wants to watch your, you know, basement drain pipe. So like, can you get a nice, beautiful setup somehow? But that is more of a long-term thing. But as you do that, you get better at making videos. And then you could be somebody who's more like Grace Lever, who does these online courses where she makes $300 a pop and sells it to 2,000 people in a day. And she does these webinars. Like, so it's worth that if you envision being online as something that your career will end up doing, even if the real world starts again. These like long-term things. And in the meantime, I think Catherine had some great tips that we can start a Patreon or get some kind of fan base. Last year, I did a subscription. So I used Stripe to take credit cards. And, you know, I have all my yoga content, like lesson plans. Anybody who took my training, I already had trust with those people. So they would all have access to a platform I built, and they could access any of my content for a monthly subscription fee. And they got with that a half hour of coaching. So like, that was a way that I figured out how to pay for the content I was making, or at least some of it, and still offer a lot of value. And Lanny said that one of the alternatives to Zoom was Crowdcast.
That's what I used when I first started, when I did my webinar on Crowdcast, and I really liked it. I enjoyed using it, but it was a little pricier than Zoom. So, and they weren't going to bend. I like asked that because I was doing those videos every day. So I had to keep increasing how much I was paying, and they were like not very flexible with giving me a break. So I quit Crowdcast because of financial reasons, but I liked the platform a lot. And it wasn't like, it was browser based, not like a download like Zoom.
A lot of the apps that have monthly fees, like I had last year I had 12 different apps I used to run my business. And as I was downgrading or deleting some, they would always email you back and say, we noticed you downgraded. Do you want to pay less and still have the same privileges? So
they gave me 20%, but it still was really pricey.
yeah. Well, I mean,
Ofreet
said, my microphone is Blue Yeti, and I got, Blue Yeti. I've heard those are very, very good for microphones and my teacher's Snowball Yeti. I have to cut off there because I've got to give the kitchen back to the house. I just want to thank everyone. I did record this, so I will send the recording in an email in case there were ideas you loved that you might have forgotten. And thank you all, and we'll get through this together. Love you.
Thank you, Lara. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Lara.
Take care. Best of luck to everyone.
Thank you, Lara.
Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome.